Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Target Jobs webinar in collaboration with CIMA. The webinar today is Level Up with CIMA, Turn Data into Decisions and Build a Career that Counts. Now, before I introduce you to Claire, who's from CIMA today, I just wanted to share a couple of housekeeping rules. If you don't mind putting all your questions in the questions tab, and we'll come to it at the end in the Q&A section. And in the chat tab, you can share any appreciation that you might have. If you have any technical difficulties throughout the webinar, please at me, who's Nahal from Target Jobs, with any problems that you might have. In the meantime, let me just pass over to Claire, who will kick things off for us. I think Claire might be having slight technical difficulties for the moment. And while she comes back, if you don't mind, if you're already connected, if you could share what university you're connecting from today. So sorry about the technical difficulties just there, but as mentioned, if you're already connected, if you wouldn't mind sharing in the chat just as a bit of engagement, what university you're joining in from today. And I think we've got Claire back. There we go. I'll pass over to Claire now.
Hi, sorry. I think I got chucked off the internet then. Hopefully you can hear me now.
Yep, perfect. Thanks, Claire.
Brilliant, thank you. Hi everyone, and thank you so much for joining the session today. My name is Claire Drose and I'm the lead manager for the student recruitment team at CIMA. Today I'm going to be talking to you about leveling up with CIMA as a professional qualification and turning data into decisions and building a career that really counts. We probably have quite a mixed audience here today. Usually we do, with people who have heard of CIMA before, people who have looked into it in quite a lot of depth, and those of you who have literally hearing it from the off for today, the first time ever. So I'm going to, in this presentation, go through the professional qualification, and I will talk through what management accounting is all about. And I will then take you through into the types of careers that you would be looking at doing, what our syllabus is about, and how to then move forward if it's something that you want to go into. I have put in the chat that I've got my LinkedIn, and I'll put that just in now again. Please do feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, because we do a lot of engagement and activity on LinkedIn. As we're a professional qualification, obviously we do a lot of, or speak to a lot of employers, particularly within my team UK-wise, but we are a global qualification. And what we do on LinkedIn is we're always connecting and trying to connect the employers that we speak to with people who attend our events like this, and various other things that we do. So we're always trying to connect, share job opportunities, and that's anything from summer internships, placements, through to graduate opportunities, apprenticeship opportunities, anything like that. So please do feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. So CIMA stands for Chartered Institute of Management Accounting. We are a professional qualification, which is a qualification that you do whilst you are working, usually working and studying at the same time. You don't have to have a training contract if you want to study towards CIMA as a professional qualification, but usually most people would decide to start studying whilst they're working. Their employer would usually pay for you if it's relevant to your job role, and you would get time off or study leave and to become and to do your exams and then become qualified. So there's a lot of flexibility with whether you're working or not, but usually most people would be. And when you actually qualify, you'll see. So sorry. I think I went off then. Hopefully you can hear me again now. Once you actually qualify, you would get the letters CGMA that you would have after your name, which stands for Chartered Global Management Accountant. So you can see that in the corner down on the left-hand side of the slide. So just to take you back, as I said, there may be people on here who have never heard of management accounting before, and it's a lot easier to explain what CIMA is about as a professional qualification if we go back a few steps. Now, on this slide, this is just to give you just to show you that there are two different types of accounting. There's the traditional accounting, which is that financial accounting side of things, and there's management accounting. Now, financial accounting is all about that stereotypical accountant type role where you would think of somebody who is an accountant, number crunching, sat in a back office accounts function of a business and reporting on what has happened historically within the business that you work for. Management accounting is more about looking at the business as a whole and working with the business as a whole. So it's much more about looking at the business, looking at not just the numbers, not just doing the number crunching, but actually looking at the numbers and thinking, okay, what other factors would affect this business decision? It's not just about, let's go with it because yes, 2 + 2 does equal 4. We need to look at other factors. What's the staffing? What's the risk factors here? What's the economic environment that will affect our decision or the decision or suggestion that we would give the business that we work for? So management accountants pull all that information together and the managers of the business use that information in order to make business decisions to move the business that you work for forward. So if you're somebody who is interested in business as a whole, if you're interested in pulling information together, analysing that information and making and helping with business decisions and looking into the future, not just reporting on what happened in the past, you're somebody who is interested in working with different areas of the business, not just that back office accounts function, then management accounting is something that you should look into and be very much aware of, that there are those two different types of accounting, and that CIMA as a professional qualification is the qualification that you would choose to study and become qualified in if management accounting is the route that sounds more up your street than that traditional sort of tax, audit, financial accounting side of things. I think this is a really different and interesting way of an analogy and way of describing what management accounting is about. So this is taking a holiday as an example. So a management accountant, if you were the management accountant in your family, so to speak, and you're looking at organising a holiday, that's your project, the holiday, you would look at costings. So different costings, all inclusive, self-catering, B&B, which is the sort of better one? What are the risks? What are the benefits of one over the other? You would look at the different types of holiday. So maybe the decision making, should we go sun, skiing, city break? You'd look at making recommendations, so putting your case forward to your key stakeholders, your family members, your friends, thinking of what their thoughts are and what your feedback is and advice as to what you should be doing. You'd do a bit of analysis work before you booked anything. You'd maybe look at reviews on TripAdvisor, all those sort of different sites where you can sort of try and gauge a bit more information about what you might decide to do. You'd look at a bit of a strategy. Should we go for 7, 10 or 14 nights? And there'd be reasons around that. Risks, weather, is it the right weather to go to, I don't know, Venice in November? I think I may have dropped internet-wise again.
Hi, also sorry for the internet difficulties today. Just give us a moment and Claire will be back with us in a second. Thank you for your patience.
Hi everyone, I'm not sure what is happening because I seem to see that I am still here, but it seems that I'm not each time. So I really do apologise because I'm not quite sure what is happening with the connection here today. Um, what I was going through all these different sort of factors and the analogy around sort of the different areas that you would look at, and if you were the management accountant within your family as to sort of this what you'd be looking at. This is what management accountants look at when they're working on various projects within a business. And a lot of people, when I'm talking to various employers, various CIMA students and members as to why they chose to go down the CIMA route or the management accounting route, a lot of them are, the main theme I hear is that the reason they chose that route is because they want to do something quite tangible. They want to work on projects. They want to sort of see it and, you know, see what they're working on, feel what they're working on, and be very much involved, not just be that person looking at the numbers and reporting them. They wanted to be part of that decision-making process, a part of those suggestions and justifications to the business. So, like I said, if you're somebody who's really interested in guiding those critical business decisions, providing that valuable strategic advice to the business, combining your financial expertise but business knowledge as well, and somebody who's got that strong leadership, influential, managerial skills to make those suggestions and justifications to the business and successfully manage any risk factors, those are the sort of key things within any role with a management accountant would be doing, and that is why you would choose to look at the CIMA qualification, go down that route. We are a business that, yes, grew out of the manufacturing industry about 100 years ago, or over 100 years ago now, but you can work in any sector anywhere. You can work in any business, you can work in not-for-profit, media, construction, transport, retail, wherever you want. It does not hold you back. If you think, I want to study towards CIMA, I want to go to management accounting, it does not hold you back as to which industry you can work within. And there are some really interesting companies that we have done presentations with over the years, and the management accountants within those businesses who have talked about the types of jobs that they do. Places like Sky, ASOS, NHS, lots and lots of different businesses, BAE Systems, that have come and spoken about, you know, what they're doing as a management accountant, what they would do in those businesses. This slide is just to show you that there are lots and lots of job titles that our students and members hold. So it's, I know a lot of people fear being typecast and narrowed when they're thinking about what professional qualification to study towards, but with CIMA and with management accounting in particular, you are not held to one route and one options. And as a management accountant, you would start off probably within that, but there are so many different areas that our students and members branch off into, and you can see the plethora of job titles that there are on this slide that reflect our students and members, from, you know, a head of finance to CEO to risk analyst to consultant to head of retail banking. So many different job titles out there. So it's not just assistant management accountant or graduate management accountant or, you know, and it doesn't have to have that sort of management accountant within the title. There are so many areas that you can go into. And I think the nature of management accounting and the nature of the fact that what you would be involved in as a management accountant in a business actually opens up lots more doors to you, because you're working with so many different areas of the business within the role that you're doing as a management accountant, and that naturally would open up opportunities for you long term in your career. So you may branch off out of the world of finance and accounting and into a world more of the project management or marketing or buying or that side of things. So it doesn't sort of lock you in. I think it actually naturally helps you grow with what you want to do, and give you opportunity long term in your career. As I said, opportunities to work anywhere, any industry, any sector, and this is just to sort of break it down for you a bit, where you can see the different types of companies, different types of areas that you may work within. So the big four, for example, like PwC, EY, Deloitte, a bit of an example as to where the different accounting qualifications fit within that type of business. For example, if you were to work for Deloitte and you were to work in tax or audit, they would probably put you on to study towards ACA, also known as ICAW, or ACCA. If you were to work in the consulting or advisory arm, so management consultant side of things, then they would put you on to study towards the CIMA qualification. So it just shows you that particular business, one business, but actually where the different accounting qualifications fit within the roles of that within those businesses. So we have got a lot of students and members, and we are always constantly, because we know that it's really important to hear real life stories and actually for you to actually understand as to whether or not the qualification's right for you. And I would highly recommend having a look at all the different stories and that we've got of our real life students and members talking about the companies they work for, the job roles that they do, the reasons why they chose to go down the management accounting route and study and become CIMA qualified, and the actual day-to-day life of what they are doing. And I just think that real life stories are a really good thing if you're not sure what you want to do, to have a look at those. And we've got loads and loads of them available. I would go on to our CIMA, UK CIMA Early Careers side of things. I know that we've got stuff on the platform here, on Instagram, TikTok. We are constantly daily putting day in the life of interviews, various things to try and sort of help you understand the multitude of things that you could be involved in as a CIMA student or member. And as you can see, here's one from Anthony from British Airways, senior finance business partner in flight operations, saying that he's held a number of positions across the business, ranging from buying and merchandising finance to a more central group reporting role. So, there's a lot of very interesting things and very interesting businesses that you could get involved in and work for. You don't have to work for a large multinational organization. I will say. Right, sorry, it looks like my internet went just then again. Apologies for that. So you don't have to work for a large multinational organization. You can work for a small business. You can work for yourself. You don't have to have a training contract with CIMA where you would with somewhere like ICAW. You can get on with your studies before you even get employed. But I would probably say, I'll get a job and the employer would pay for you. But just to show you about earning potential, and take this with a pinch of salt, because obviously we always have London in these types of salary surveys, but the main part of this is the bottom bit where it says strategic, operational management. Those are the levels of the qualification. So as I said, we're a professional qualification. You usually do that whilst you're working at the same time. It's not like university where you study and you have a term and you get qualified at the end. Everybody's working at the same time as studying towards CIMA, and you work your way through the qualification. And what the marketplace dictates is that you actually increase in salary as you work through and get qualified within a professional qualification. So it's a really good way of also having control over your career progression, your salary progression. So this is just to give you a bit of an overview of our actual syllabus. So each of the boxes, we've got E1, F1, E1, P1, F1, and then you have a case study. And then you have E2, P2, F2, and then you have a case study. And then you've got E3, P3, F3, and you have a case study. And on the sides, you'll see just a bit of a insight into what some of these are about and what some of these sections cover. But you work through each of the levels. You may have exemptions at the levels, depending on what your prior learning is. So, for example, if you have done and completed an accounting and finance degree at university, and you think, okay, I'm getting a job with this employer, I would like to start studying towards CIMA, you would have exemptions because your accounting and finance degree, there would be the prior learning that would cover the first 8 exams of the CIMA qualification. There are 16 exams in total, and the accounting finance degree program would cover 8 exams, so you'd be exempt from 8. Now, saying that, there are different ways now of becoming CIMA qualified, different routes to becoming qualified. We have the self-tailored route and we have the finance leadership program. Both of them are the exact same qualification, exact same learning, but they are different ways of being assessed and being examined. So with the self-tailored route, if you were to have had no exemptions at all, not done a relevant degree, not got any prior learning that's relevant, you would start from the beginning at the certificate level and you would work your way up and have to sit those 16 exams. With the finance leadership program, this is actually a platform that you would have access to, and it's a digital platform where you actually get assessed while you are learning, which means that instead of doing the 16 exams, if you were to start from the beginning, you would just have to sit 3 case study exams externally, because you will be doing the continual assessment as you're working through for the finance leadership program. This is a route that was actually adopted and rolled out in the UK a few years ago, and as you can imagine, it's become quite popular. We have a lot of feedback, particularly from the last few years of people becoming qualified, particularly who really, really helped and enabled them to do bite-sized learning and bite-sized assessing to becoming qualified and doing those big exams at the end. So the finance leadership program basically it would look a bit like this. You have the modules, you do your learning, you get to each stage, you're assessed as you work through, and then you take the case study exams externally. So those are the only actual external exams that you would sit. And these are computer-based exams as well. So the case study exams are meant to be as true to real life as possible, as you can in an exam setting. So you'd have some pre-seen material about a company, and then you'd go into the exam. And as I said, it's computer-based. It's at Pearson VUE exam centres, or you can sit them remotely at your home. And you'd work through the questions as though it's a real life scenario at that certain level that you're working at. So in summary, both routes, you do gain the designations along the way. You do require 3 years practical experience at the end of it. A professional qualification is a master's level. However, the reason it's a professional qualification is because you have to have the theoretical and practical experience before you become fully qualified. That's for any professional qualification. So we look for 3 years, so we break it down into months, so 36 months of practical experience that can be gained before, during, or after studying towards the qualification. So if you've got any experience, as long as it's relevant, and you can find more information about what we look for as relevant experience on our website under practical experience requirements, as long as it's relevant, that experience can be used towards your 36 months that we require for you before you become fully qualified. at the end of it, for both routes, you would finish the qualification and have those letters after your name: CGMA, Chartered Global Management Accountant. So it totally depends up to you as to which way you'd want to do it. The FLP is more of a subscription base, so you pay for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and you work your way through it that way. The traditional route, you pay more as you go and more as you sort of the way that you might want to learn, for, you know, either by going to a tuition provider or doing books or whatever, but it might be a blended approach as to how you learn for each of the modules, but you would be sitting those exams separately. So if you wanted to get started, obviously you go onto our website, register as a CGMA candidate, you'd apply for your free exemptions, and we are one of the only accounting qualifications that actually offers exemptions for free. Others, you have to actually pay for those. You choose your route, so the traditional route or the finance leadership program, so FLP it's also known as, and then you study and schedule your exams accordingly. If you're interested in FLP and interested in doing that now, obviously I've put my LinkedIn details. Please get in touch with me and we can sort of help you through that. The traditional route, it would be sort of more for you to get on and or do it through your employer or however you might want to do that. But for FLP, I can get one of my team to help you through that route and even talk to your employer if that's the way that you would be paying for your studies. So a bit of time, and apologies again for the going in and out with the internet and everything, but has anybody got any questions that they have at the moment? I will put my LinkedIn again. Please do feel free to connect with me. My
Sorry, everyone. I think Claire's internet has just gone out again. But in the meantime, if you do have any questions, please do put them in the questions tab that we can get them addressed in a moment once Claire's internet is back on. Thank you so much for your patience. I think you're back, Claire. You're back.
sorry, I have no idea what is happening here today with that. So I really do apologise, everybody. Are there any questions that have come through at all?
We have had one question from Mahi, who's asked, does going down the CIMA FLP route hold the same weight as the traditional CIMA route?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. It is purely a different way of becoming qualified, a different way of learning and being assessed.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm going to see if there's any more questions that any students have. Just put a question in the chat tab to see if anyone has any extra questions whilst we've got Claire and all her knowledge today. But Mahi says thank you.
No worries. Yeah, I mean, the FLP route is great, and we've had some really, really good feedback. As I said, a lot of people have found it. It's a very new and bit of a trailblazer way of becoming qualified. It's very much the way people learn and take in information nowadays. So it's as you could imagine, been very successful way of becoming CIMA qualified. But there's no difference in the gravitas of that qualification. It's all the same, learning and assessing going along the way. They're just different.
Fantastic. I think we've got someone else typing a question.
Yeah.
So let's see what they have to say.
Okay.
So the question is, I'm at an operational level. Is there any chance of getting a job after this?
A job after operational level, I would imagine so. I mean, it's tricky because obviously the job is with the employer and with what you do, but of course, obviously CIMA is very much a credible qualification, global qualification. So if you were, I don't know what other experience you've got. Obviously, lots of different factors come into play when you're actually looking at getting a job, and even the level of job you might be going for. I don't know. It's really tricky, but of course, it's not going to not help you. That's all I can say. The qualification will always help you when you're going for interviews and things, but there are obviously other factors to take into account with the jobs you're going for, the experience that the employers might be looking for, how you do in the interview, all those sorts of things.
So we have a follow-up question, which you can probably see also in the chat, but I can read it out for you. Yeah.
How can I leverage my CIMA to get a job or decide? I think that is. How can I leverage my CIMA to get a job or decide? Is that how you? I'm trying to work out exactly what this question means. I mean, how to get a job with CIMA. So if you are CIMA, sorry, I'm just seeing if they've written some more. I think I've gone again, unless everybody can hear me.
No, we can hear you fine, Claire. We can hear you fine.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Sorry, it keeps on telling me I've gone. So all this, there seems to be lots of questions about coming through about getting a job, searching for jobs. There are so many different areas of searching for jobs. We've got Careers Hub on our CIMA website. We've got jobs that we share on LinkedIn. We've got the UK CIMA Ready Careers platform on Instagram, on TikTok, where you can where we're sharing jobs all the time. There's Indeed, Read, there's all those different types of job sites as well on the internet where you just literally Google and put CIMA in there, and a load of jobs should come up. But my colleague Joanne Monkman, as I said, Joanne Monkman on LinkedIn puts a job every day, and that's her own search that she does to try and connect CIMA and the people that we speak to who connect with us on LinkedIn to any CIMA relevant job opportunities. As a biomedical engineer working in a hospital already, as responsible for medical asset management, how can CIMA improve my current work? Well, biomedical engineer is quite different from management accounting or sort of that finance sort of route. So if it's management accounting and more that finance route that you want to go into, it would be whether or not you want to actually move from that biomedical engineering world, which to be honest, do not know a lot about because that's not something that I'm not in that world, so I don't know. But if you're already, working in a hospital and got some experience around this sort of asset management of things, it's whether or not CIMA is something that you want and feel the need to have for your current work. I don't know. I mean, it's a really tricky question for me to answer because I don't get many biomedical engineers asking me how CIMA can improve their current job role. He's typing again, so I'll see if there's any more information. It's if you feel that within your role, this is something that's needed, this knowledge, that more of a business knowledge, more finance knowledge, and that's what you need to progress within your role. Obviously, that is something that will add if you do the CIMA qualification. Oh, sorry, I meant my current experience would help me switch careers. Okay, so look, you need to go onto our website and look under the practical experience requirements, have a read through and see what you have already done and what elements of the practical experience requirements that we look at, because we actually look at quite a holistic overview. We don't just expect people to have 36 months of pure management accounting experience. We do look at other factors like soft skills, such as and computer skills. So there's lots of different things that you probably could use. I don't know how long you've been working as a biomedical engineer or anything like that, but there's probably a lot of different things that you have done within your role that potentially, yes, you could use towards the 3 years relevant experience. But I would probably say go on to and have a good read on our practical experience requirements on our website, and you'll see all the different information on there, and you'll be able to pick out what you have already probably got and what's relevant and everything. But if you're wanting to switch careers and management accounting and the more finance route is a career that you want to switch to, then obviously, yes, CIMA as a professional qualification will help you with that, no doubt. I hope that answers the question. It's quite tricky when people ask particular questions about their actual careers and switching careers with a little information. Okay, hopefully. He said thank you, so hopefully that's helped.
Just wanted to encourage, if any other students have any questions, please to chuck them in the questions tab. It would be really helpful to know, whilst we've got Claire's time, who can share a lot of wisdom and insight into this qualification. So please do ask your questions. But thank you so much in the meantime. Thank you so much, Claire, for your presentation. It was very, very insightful and helpful. But let's hope for some more questions, hopefully.
Well, I do apologise for the internet issues. So
No
hopefully
problem.
everybody got the information that they needed.
Absolutely. Is there any one nugget of advice that you would kind of give to all the students who are logged on today, just as something that to encourage them to apply, or how to make the decision, or just one nugget specifically of info?
So probably, okay, and so a nugget of information, probably that deciding on what professional qualification to do, because I know that that's a big thing, and a lot of students that I speak to sort of really worry about getting that right, and thinking, oh, which should I choose? There are within the UK, I work for the UK market. CIMA is a global qualification, but I obviously work with UK universities and employers and schools and colleges and everything. And within the UK, there are 3 main accounting qualifications. And actually, prior to working for CIMA, I've been with CIMA for 15 years now as a professional qualification. And prior to that, I was working for over 8 years in finance and accounting recruitment. So recruiting graduate up to CFO level jobs. And one thing I will say, in the UK, we've got 3 main accounting qualifications, which are ACA, also known as ICAW, ACCA, and CIMA. Those are the main ones that I would see as a recruiter that employers were asking for. But the thing is that what I would really understand is, like I said at the beginning, understand that there are differences. There are 2 different types of accounting. There's financial accounting, that more traditional accounting that you think of when you think of the word accountant. You think of somebody who's sat in a back office, accounts function, doing the number crunching, reporting what's historically happened, and working maybe in tax or audit. But then there's the other form of accounting, which a lot of people don't know about, which is management accounting. And that's more of that business finance. That's more if you're somebody who's interested in corporate strategy, that strategic thinking, that pulling of information together, not just the numbers, but lots of other factors. And you're somebody who's interested in moving the business that you work for forward, and working within the business as a whole, not just the back office accounts function, then management accounting is something you should look at. And it's right, it's not everything's right for everyone. There's different fits. So, really understand what auditing's about and what being a tax accountant's all about, and really understand what being a management accountant's all about. And when you get that understanding, when you really actually know management accounting's my route, that's what I want to do, then you'll know that CIMA is the qualification that you should pursue. If you think, actually, no, I would really love to be an auditor or a tax accountant, or, work more in that financial accounting, traditional accounts function, then probably ICAW or ACCA are the accounting qualifications that you would look at, because the syllabus reflects those more. So that, I would say, is where I'd start off. just really understand the two differences. Look at those day in the life ofs, look at what work you would actually be doing, because if you get that right, then you'll enjoy it. If you get it wrong, then that's sort of a bit of a different story. Once you start, you're working, you're getting different experience. Everybody gets different experiences, whatever they do, even if they take the management accounting route, work in different companies, you get different experiences, work on different projects, whatever. But once you get the qualification, then, it's grey area from there. You're qualified then, and you'll see in a lot of job specs that those high level roles will look at experience a lot more, and will look at whether you're qualified or not. So that's probably with regards to the professional qualification advice, is just knowing that there's two different types of accounting, getting the right one for you. And then for advice on when you actually go to interviews, because I do a lot of talking to employers within early careers side of things. And the main thing is showing that enthusiasm and, understanding that when you are going for jobs and it's your first job, the employers are not looking for you to have all the experience that they've noted on the job spec. What they're wanting is for you to understand that you've got some soft skills that you're going to bring to the table. And they are always going on about soft skills. They're always going on about teamwork, communication, leadership skills, but that's stuff that can be shown through extracurricular things, like being part of a sports team or being on a society or something like that. So very much have a think of what extra things do I do? What are my interests? What, do I play in my uni hockey team or football team or something like that? And actually, if you do, talk about it, because you are part of a team. You show up every day for a match or whatever, you are communicating to a team to get that win. It's those sorts of things that they're looking for you to have a good understanding and point out to them. So hopefully those two bits of advice help.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Claire. Lovely. It doesn't look like we have any more questions. So I'm wondering if you'd like to go on to your last slide, and then maybe we can finish slightly early and give you some time back.
Yeah, that's it from me. So I'll happily welcome anybody to connect with me on LinkedIn and ask any further questions if they get any at a later date. And particularly if you're interested in starting the CIMA qualification and that FLP route, that was something that I can probably get one of my team to contact you and help you and talk you through a bit further.
Thank you so much, Claire, for your time. Thank you to the students who attended today as well and engaged and asked some questions. So wishing you all a lovely afternoon ahead and a good rest of the week. Thanks a lot. Bye from us at Target Jobs. All the best. Bye.
Bye.